Hello and welcome to Marketing Reef, Get More Customers. Welcome to the show. This is a show where we feature special guests. Special guests who like to talk about things about business, marketing, to help other people to do better in terms of getting more customers. Now, my special guest today is Linda Conyard. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Karen. I'm really well, thanks. I'm excited to be here with you.
Stunning. So, Linda, you're over in Brisbane.
That's right.
So today we're talking about things, aren't we? About things that are potentially unresolved, things about us and ourselves that will potentially affect not just what we do in life, but will also affect the way that we run our businesses and things like that. So talk a little bit more about how you got into this area, because Linda is a trauma speaker and facilitator and a business coach. So good combination of things to be going on there. Tell us a little bit behind where that came from.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise for me as well, actually, because as a trauma therapist, I sit with people and they work through their trauma. But what I was finding was that the clients that I was sitting with, they also had, a lot of them had a lot of their own businesses. And what they were finding that was stopping them in their lives was also showing up in their businesses in one shape or another. So whether it's not enough clients, whether it's not enough income, or having clients that weren't paying them, or, you know, not the ideal clients, or attracting the wrong people.
Yes.
All those types of things where they might be even hiding in their business. They're the sorts of things that were showing up, and I started working with these people in their businesses as well, and they had significant shifts in their experience in their business once they paid attention to that part of themselves psycho-emotionally that was unresolved.
That's interesting. So do you think it's quite common? Do you think it's quite common in terms of many business owners having things in their past which have happened to them, either kind of through their own kind of concern or through things happening to them, where they are, it does hold them back in business. It does kind of stop them from doing things which are going to make their business a success.
Absolutely, and I think it's more common than what we think. And that's basically a comment with absolutely no data or research behind it. It's just my sense around being with people a lot.
Yes.
So I guess it's like, people don't consider to look at their psycho-emotional stuff, or therapy is seen to be like there's something wrong with someone, or they're screwed up, or there's not right in the head, whatever. But, therapy is really a great place if you want to just nut something out. And it could take 1 or 2 sessions for you to just go through a circumstance and get some real clarity around it and be able to move forward. It doesn't mean you have to dredge up everything that's gone wrong in your whole life. So you could use it even as part of your business protocol, just to keep you like clear on path in the right direction. Because I know for myself, what I used to do, I have got the most massivest collection of all these online courses. Half of them I've got half finished, and the other half I haven't even looked at yet. But it's like this craving of trying to solve something, but I couldn't quite get what it was I was trying to solve. But then once I did my own personal work, it just cleared, and I didn't need that anymore. So I'm sure there's people that are listening to this that have the same thing on their computers, lots and lots of courses that they haven't quite completed, because it's not the right thing. Yep.
What is that about? What is that about? When we collect things, are we avoiding something?
I think it's more that we're searching for something and we don't quite know what we're searching, because we're searching on that logical level, like, strategy, planning, all the business terminologies that, we're all supposed to do. But we forget that, we are a human being, and we do have psycho-emotional, spiritual parts of our being, but they're not real business arena. Although I am seeing more and more there's part of that, but it's a big part of us that we just don't bring into our business field. So I think it's that we're searching for something, but we're just in the wrong spot.
We don't quite know what we're searching for. Is that it?
Yes. And there's also, like, generationally in our own families, there's repeating patterns that come down. So we operate in a certain way. And I know for myself in my own work that I do, I can't see what is out of my own awareness. I have to go to my own therapist and nut it out with her and to be able to see what it is that I can't see. But then once I see it and I identify it, it just shows up everywhere. I go, oh my gosh, yes, that makes sense.
Yes, doesn't make sense, and pretty pervasive. So if you find a pattern that is repeating itself over and over and over, there's things you can do about it, isn't there? There's things that you can do to help yourself to first, like you say, you've got to have insight. You've got to know there is a problem, and then you've got to recognize the pattern of how is that a pattern running, and how is it affecting me? What is it? What is it about that pattern? So let's go into a little bit more detail in terms of share some experiences. I know you have certainly your own experiences of doing that as well, where people have those patterns and how it's helped them to get some insight on them or to do something about them and how it's affected their business.
So I'll share a couple of my own discoveries that might resonate with people, or they might get some sort of understanding about what I'm talking about. So when I first started my business in 2006, I found it so difficult to take money. I just felt like I wasn't enough, and there were all these feelings. Physically, it was so difficult for me to actually accept money into my hand.
Sure.
Anyway, I was looking through this and I was working through this for myself, and what I came to see was that my father was emotionally unavailable, but what he would do, every now and then he would give us some money. So in my child mind, I made this connection that money equals love. So when that's in my business, money equals love. It's like, this person doesn't have to, like, it just didn't make sense subconsciously. This wasn't in my conscious field, but subconsciously it wasn't right. So once I was able to separate out that childhood learning and understanding, and then just focus on my business, that this is an exchange for my knowledge and what service I'm giving to this other person, then it was easier. But honestly, there was something, my whole gut would tense when I would think about getting money.
And I don't think that's some good. Thanks for sharing that, because I think that is a common experience, Linda. How, especially if you've come from a background where you do it for the love, not the money. You know, it's kind of it's a big thing for people to overcome, to grow a business, even start a business. If you can't somehow be okay about taking payment from people, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a huge thing. And I know when I run my Women in Money Masterclass, it brings up all sorts of stories that people weren't aware of when they were actually doing their business. So it makes sense once they see it that they couldn't have made that money because that story was so in the way of them accepting the financial reward for their service. Yeah.
That's a really good learning. Yes. And people need, it's not always obvious, is it? It's not always obvious. Clearly that link is quite
it's very much in the subconscious. It's not obvious at all. And don't often understand it. And that's why we want to learn some more. We try and make ourselves enough in other ways, but we haven't actually hit on the core reason that we're struggling to accept money.
Yes. Good. That's a good one. That's really good.
Yeah, it's a good one to resolve.
It's important to resolve if you want to have a business, isn't it? Exactly. But also the amount you charge, how much you're worth, how much you value your, like you say, your knowledge. You're sharing years of experience with someone else and helping them to overcome such sometimes very challenging things that they couldn't, overcome themselves. That's priceless. That is priceless.
It is priceless, and it's very freeing in your business. And it's like you can even allow those who choose not to pay your price to be okay with that, and it doesn't touch you anymore. You don't feel like, oh my God, I've done the wrong thing, or oh my God, I have to reduce my price, or I have to bargain every time I have a client, or try to sell something. It is so freeing. You can just allow, this is my price, and people either come and pay or they don't.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Wonderful bit of advice, people. Heed that advice, because that could save your business.
Yes, solve the money story. Absolutely. It's huge.
So a couple of sessions, finding that out actually is priceless. Yeah. Do we have time for one more example? Is there any other examples you can give?
I guess the other thing that I did in my business for a very long time, and I still catch myself doing it a little bit sometimes, is I hide in my business. So I'm an introvert naturally, and to be in business and to put yourself out there goes against the grain of my being. So it's challenging. But, you know, learning to accept my introvertedness and to work with that introvertedness. And that's part of what people come to me for, because I'm a good listener. I can sit, and that's my job as a trauma therapist. So on one level, that's great. But then on another level where I have to put myself out there, it's a bit more challenging. But again, doing that work can really put you on track with your purpose. And when you're aligned with your purpose and your mission, then that becomes easier as well. You're not forcing against something that's not quite right. But my home, because there's a lot of trauma in my own family, home wasn't a sanctuary, but I made my business my sanctuary. So when I make my business my sanctuary, I don't want too many clients in there. So it's like, then again, I wasn't making as much money, but I hadn't realized that's what I was doing. So in my subconscious field, that was a place where I only had a very few people in, instead of it being my business.
Of course, yes. So it's about working to your strengths, being insightful about who you are and what you represent, and what is true to yourself. Being true to yourself, and acknowledging that, you know, that you have to work in certain ways to be that, and to go with those strengths.
Yeah, and to not see that the weaknesses are a bad thing either. It's like, just find someone who's going to do that for you. It's not something that you love doing. So who's the person that you're going to get to do that stuff, so you can do all the fun stuff that you love doing, because it's your business?
Absolutely. But even that holds, you know, for some issue, just the idea of relinquishing control over to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what will happen if they won't do as good a job as I will, or you know, they aren't as creative as me? But and that is a big thing, isn't it? Holding people back, which probably stems way back in somebody's past, about, you know, that loss of control over something.
Yeah, exactly right. And like, honestly, if there's one thing that people can take away from today, is the better that they know themselves, and the more that they work with themselves to resolve what's unresolved, the freer they're going to be in all aspects of their life, because this stuff affects every aspect of their life, even if they're not aware of it. And that's usually what I find with my clients, that they're usually not aware of what it is that's affecting their life. They have one incident that's a trigger for them to come to therapy, but then they actually then explore and uncover how insidious it can be through every area of their life.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
You know, the goal is, if you know yourself really well, then, you know, life is so much easier. Again,
priceless. It's not just about your business, it's about you as a person, and you will feel liberated. And the big weight left off.
Yeah, so the business should be providing you with the life that you want. It shouldn't be a chore.
Absolutely. Oh, do you know what? It's been so insightful. It's been a delight, honestly, Linda, talking to you today. I think it's the things that, it's kind of the elephant in the room sometimes, and I think people don't completely want to go there or acknowledge what's going on there. But I think it is. I think it's something a lot of people struggle with.
Yes. Yep. And it's not necessary. They don't have to. Yeah.
Correct. Oh, great bits of advice. Awesome today, Linda. Your time is priceless. People should be have such gratitude for your sharing your thoughts today. I'm sure.
Oh, thank you.
So how can people get a hold of you to get more information about how you might be able to help them? What's the best way of them to contact you?
There's my website, which is www.lindaconyard.com. Or I'm on Facebook, Linda Conyard Speaks. That's my new Facebook, because I'm rebranding into Linda Conyard. Or LinkedIn, Linda Conyard as well. So I'm just using my name across everything. So
yes, well, why not?
My name.
You are the brand. You are the brand.
That's right. Finally.
Good job. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time out and coming on here. I'm going to share your details as well on the show notes afterwards, so people have got it written down and can click on it and get a hold of you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you again on the next Marketing Reef Get More Customers show. Bye for now.